Hello, my magical human beings. Miss J here, and this is the Miss J Experience, the show that's a conversation about the experience of life. From music to mental health, we're gonna break it all down and get all the juicy little bits. And on top of that, we're gonna develop habits together to get through life even more beautifully, because I think we all need some of that. So today, it is our first episode ever. So you're going along on this journey with me, and I couldn't be more honored to have my first guest, who is a beautiful human being who helped me find my voice online. And today's episode is about finding our voice. So come on this journey with me, start this conversation, and let's experience life together the Miss J way. And we are here with the incomparable Kristi Elefante.
Hello.
You know, I like to do the reverse. Why don't you tell me your come up story? Because today...
I'm still coming up. I'm still coming up.
Aren't we all?
My come up story. I obviously work in entertainment. I do marketing. All different facets of marketing in the entertainment industry. It started from just trying a bunch of different things, and then I became multifaceted that way. I started doing promotions for iHeartRadio, and events, artist relations, artist facing, then did experiential marketing, artist development, publicity. I was even a personal assistant at one point in my life, organizing photo shoots. Now I do a lot of creative direction, things like that. So definitely well-versed in the industry as a whole, I would say.
Multi-hyphenated.
Trying.
That is, I feel like if you're in the artist world, that is the key, as a multi-hyphenated artist.
I'm trying.
And I love that you said artist facing, because when we met, I had no...
Best day of my life.
TikTok, seriously, no TikTok, barely. I was on Instagram. I was trying to do my thing on Instagram. I was anti-Facebook at the time because it was just too many platforms. And I was going through the struggle that a lot of, I think, independent artists go through, which is we're already doing so much, and now we have to add on all these social media platforms. But what you helped me realize was that these were just all marketing tools to help me get my name and my voice out there. And that reframe was huge for me. You guys don't know this, but I would call her almost every day crying, I think, about TikTok in the beginning.
We had our struggles.
You don't have to lie to the people. Tell
our struggles.
I would cry at least, I say a minimum once a week, maybe twice, because it felt like I couldn't. I was like, what am I gonna post about? And you helped me really see that it doesn't have to be against me. This can be for me. And that was super freeing. Now, it took me a year. I'm not saying this happened overnight, but I feel that what you were most, I would say prolific even, because this was a huge shift in my career. It really was for me. I felt that way, was kind of shifting the narrative, shifting the perspective, right? I was thinking of it as something that drained me, and then you helped me see it as something that could help build my career. And do you think that came from just work, because you've done a lot of big events, she's being coy, people, by the way, for a lot of big artists. Was that something you saw because you were around a lot of big artists and saw what they did with it? Or was it also the independent artists you worked with that were smaller that you helped build? Or was it both?
I think it's both, and I think it's also being a music fan and clocking what these artists are doing and being online, and admiring design. I'm an artist. My mom's a professional
Queen
artist.
of the mood boards, by the way. I'm going to say she needs to do a whole business where it's just if you need a mood board for a shoot, you need to go to Kristi.
Thank you. So I think it's just my career, one, but also just because I am an artsy person and I like visuals and things like that, just seeing what was going on and kind of clocking it and just taking note of that. I also think just growing up in the age that we grew up in, it's really big nowadays for, you have to stand out.
Yeah.
There's so much music. There's so many artists. There's so many things out there. But also it's hard to do because people nowadays also see right through
the bullshit,
the fakeness. the bullshit. So authenticity is really key.
Yeah.
So I remember when you came to me at first, you wanted me to do your PR essentially.
Yes.
At first. And I said to you, I was like, well, you don't have a brand for PR. PR is essentially, you know, what do you want your brand, how do you want your brand to make people feel, right? That's PR. But I'm like, well, what's your brand?
She's being quiet, but she was like, girl, you don't have a brand, so there's nothing to sell yet.
So essentially you need, you need a brand.
Yeah.
To artists, you need a brand. You look at the top artists nowadays, Sabrina Carpenter, Charlie XCX, I'm naming the girly pops.
Of course.
They're selling a brand. What's Sabrina Carpenter selling? She's rebranding what it means to be a HOE.
Yeah.
A girly pop.
A girly
but like
nymphies.
selling herself like sexually. Like,
Yeah.
She's retaking ownership of her sexuality of like, yeah, I'm a girl and I like sex is
Yeah.
her brand. And then all her colors and her imagery like go along with that.
Her hairstyle.
Right.
like,
It took her a while to get to where she was because she didn't find that right away.
Yeah.
Even Charlie XCX, she's been in the game for years and years on end, but then she just popped off with Brat Summer because what was she selling? I'm a party girl. Let's have fun. Let's live life. They're
So
selling
true.
a feeling.
Yeah.
They're selling a feeling. And that's essentially what a brand is. When I say find your brand, what is your brand? How do you want people to make you feel? For today's lingo, what's your vibe?
Yeah.
That's essentially a brand. What makes you stand out? How do people feel when they're listening to your music or watching your music videos or whatever they're doing? That's essentially like you need to have a brand because you need to make people feel something for them to want to follow you.
I think also too, this is kind of the growth of modernity, right? Artists weren't really doing this for themselves. Really, the labels were developing you, or your manager was developing you, or your agent if you're an actor, and you're kind of having a lot of external people develop you and develop what that image is for you, and that wasn't always so positive. So it is a beautiful thing now that those kind of big gatekeepers have fallen. I think for me, it was overwhelming because it's just a lot. I'm writing my own music, recording my music, trying to make videos, making music videos. I'm a short film producer, so trying to get all of that on board as I'm doing that. And it's like, then on top of that, now I'm supposed to be posting to TikTok, it felt like it was just another thing piling on. I think that was my resistance. But then when I found the power in claiming it as this is then it's me. I don't have to call up my label head and then get their approval for that album cover. I'm going to make it whatever album cover I want. And I think without you even knowing it, you met me at a time where I was starting to become confident in the studio, confident as a songwriter, but I was still very insecure, and people would never, oh, she's loud, that must mean she's confident. No. So
fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it. And I was just not at the place yet where I, like you said, had a product. You had the talent. Well, thank you.
You had the talent, you had the songs, you had the music, you had the talent, but you didn't have the overall brand yet.
Yeah.
Which you needed to find.
And I think that what we're also speaking of is when she met me, I was a completely different band name. This literally didn't exist. I was about a band because I was making decisions out of fear because I was not a pop girly. I'm not a singer-songwriter that way. I don't stand and play a guitar. I'm a classic rock girl. I'm all about the band in the studio recording the music. So I really thought this can't be about me. It has to be about all the talented people around me. And I made a band name in the beginning, and then that was super confusing because then I would show up to the studios and they'd say, where's the band? And I'm like, well, it's whoever I'm playing with or whoever I'm writing with. And as you'll learn in marketing, any questions, any hurdles makes it even more stressful. And it took us a year to get here. And that was working with you to kind of find an umbrella, because I am multi-hyphenated, that made sense because I DJ, I write, I am building businesses, I'm doing so much. So how do
You're an actor too.
I'm an actress. I'm doing it all. So how do I create a business for myself that allows me to do it all, and I don't have to have 17 businesses, because that's also overwhelming. And if you didn't push me to try new things, I think this is something that is slightly harder for women sometimes, because we kind of are conditioned to be and play certain stereotypes. To take risks. And to me, the biggest risk was TikTok. You were like, girl, you got to be on TikTok. And I was like, no. And putting myself out there, doing those trendy things, finding that I actually do like to do those kind of voiceover thing, not voiceover, when you like lip sync to funny things. And, you know, I really started to find my voice yet again on TikTok, and finding that was weirdly powerful. I was like, oh, this thing that everybody seems to be doing so easily, like, oh, I can do that too. And I think that the number one thing was it's taking risks. I think we don't, you know, we're all conditioned to kind of stay safe. And you're similar to me, where you've kind of gone through this beautiful journey of doing events, and you did this and you did that. Did you feel that was because you like to put yourself in uncomfortable positions, or do you just like to try new things? I feel like that sometimes can be scary for people to try something new, because you're like, oh, now I'm deviating. But instead, you're learning something. And how is that a negative?
Yeah, I don't know. I've always been someone where I'm always have my hand in a million different pots at one time. I've never been someone where I have one road, one thing I want to do, because in my mind, that's just boring. And there's a cap. Like, when you're doing different things, there's endless possibilities. And you're always learning. Like,
oh my God,
there's
let's take a moment for that. When you're doing different things, there's endless possibilities.
Yeah.
I love that.
I just think, and then, I don't know, it just makes me more well-rounded. And I think I wanted to learn the industry as a whole. So I know if I'm doing branding for an artist, or, you know, artist development, I can stick that artist in to open a show, maybe. You know, it's being multi-connected, multifaceted. I don't know. And the more I learn and the more I do, the more powerful I feel. Oof. Also.
Let's take a moment for that.
Like, I feel like a boss bitch when I know different, you know, different areas of the industry, and then I can talk to anybody in any facet.
But I will say that's a I'm going to say literally, because this morning I had a conversation with my dad, and, you know, different generations. My dad's also an artist. He's also a musician. He's also been through a lot in his life. He actually was talking to me because I've taken on another awesome project that's going to be great. Like you said, now I'm going to have locations. It's going to be amazing. And he was concerned. He's like, you always kind of do this project and then this project and that project. And, you know, to him, there is kind of that security in someone who sticks with that job and has that career, or has a specific thing they do and they just stick with it, and that's what they do. And that's kind of that stability, right? For him, in his mind, that's stability. Me, on the other hand,
boring. I get bored.
And I need to be stimulated. I need to be in a state of learning. And if I'm not in a state of learning, I feel stunted.
Yeah.
I should have taken that energy into TikTok. I didn't. But that has to do with also putting my actual image out there in a way that I was not ready for in that moment.
Well, I think you were also overthinking in a way, right? Where, because you had never done it before, you wanted everything to be perfect, right? And I think artists and people in general have this thing where if we're starting something new and we're just doing it for the first time, we want it to be perfect.
So true.
But then you see all these successful people where their first single, really like Harry Styles, right? He came out with his first solo song was Sign of the Times. Is that his most popular song? No, it's Watermelon Sugar.
I also don't even know what that song was. I was like, what song is that?
But it's just like, you just develop, you know? So it's almost never going to be perfect the first time.
That's the hardest part.
Like, it's never going to be perfect the first time.
Like, I was trying to make short films as like my TikToks, which was driving me insane. And then I would do something so simple that I was moved by. Like, I would find like a funny, you know, trend that was going on that I really connected to. And then that would really, and again, it's, you know, we're beautifully shifting into the idea of like policing oneself online. I feel it's hard, you know, to find your voice in a space where, you know, one thing you say could lead you into a path you didn't mean to, because everything gets taken out of context these days. Yes. But I do feel that kind of fear just inhibits you, because you just don't even try. But I love that you brought that up, because I think that is a huge issue for artists, which is development. We all develop as individuals. And I even hear, like, when I listened to my first EP, that wasn't actually that long ago, I can hear my scared voice still. I was growling a lot because I have a very low rock voice, but I was relying on that a lot. I was not singing. I was like just hoping it would come out because I was finding my voice in writing, but because of my musical theater background, I was very much like almost borderline abused because I didn't sound like everybody else. So I was just told that I couldn't sing. So for me, I really kind of adopted that label of like, I'm not a singer. And as everybody will know, I'm always like, I'm a songwriter, I'm not a singer. Because I hated to claim that because I have other friends who are incredible singers. And I was always nervous. And what's so beautiful is my latest album, Rock House, it's out. I pushed finger guns. I have, now for like Numbing the Pain, I'm doing like 6-part harmonies in the back.
Yeah.
I'm doing things that I could always do, but because I was limiting my voice, because I was listening to a script that was not my own in my head, I'm not a singer. And then I'm working on my next album. My guys in Nashville are literally recording today as we're sitting here. And the songs, even Hef is like, I love this song. I'm writing this song with this amazing producer named Femke, and it's called Jet Setting. And he's like, I love it. And I'm singing, I'm riffing in it. I'm doing little pop moments in it that a year ago I'd be like, oh, I can't do that. Those are for singers. Yeah. And I think that moment, I look back at I was like, oh wow, my voice is developing. And it's developing because I'm doing it A, more, and B, doing it comfortably and allowing myself to fail. Because I'm surrounding myself with beautiful people who let me fail in the studio, or not let me, but I allow myself to fail and I don't feel insecure about it. But I think that that's key. And I think that your personality when we first met was rife for that. Like I felt safe around you. I felt I could call you crying and be like, I can't do a TikTok, I can't. And you weren't gonna be like, oh, I'm not working with this client anymore.
No, like just put the video up and sing. It's fine.
So how do you feel about that idea of like policing oneself? I feel like we kind of are in a day and age where some people just don't care and say whatever they want and they don't really care. But I feel like for me personally as an artist, I still find myself, I'm like, oh, well, that photo might not look that cute, or ooh, maybe that caption's not the right for that photo. That idea of like policing oneself before you even post. Do you feel that way?
I mean, I think we're all human. We all feel that sometimes. But what I think people, we lack a lot of, I feel like people get too serious and things like that. I think a simple rule that helps with that is just have fun with it.
Yeah.
Just try to have fun in anything you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Like even in your job, when you're in the studio, or it doesn't even have to be, entertainment world. Say you're an accountant and you're sitting at a desk all day, just put some music on or something. Like have fun with it. Make the day fun. Make what you're doing more fun.
Yeah.
I think that if you can find ways to have fun in whatever you're doing, then like I think that alleviates the pressure of having to be perfect.
You're so right, because I was not making TikTok fun. And I keep referring to TikTok. We've done a lot more than just TikTok, but that was a huge shift for me because I really told myself I could not be on TikTok. Like I was not going to succeed on TikTok. And it's not even about success or not. The success is trying something new and not doing it. That's success. I think that's the other thing too, is we rate success. Like success has to be millions of dollars or Grammys or Oscars. Like the success is so why up here, when the success is, did I do one thing today that put me out of my comfort zone? And I love how we're just shifting into the habits. But so let's shift into some beautiful habits, because what we're talking about specifically, and this is something that I battled with a lot, is fear, right? Is if I do this, what happens if somebody thinks it's stupid and then I'm gonna get judged? Fear, 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 fear. And like you said, like having fun, when you have fun, you don't care what people think. If you're having fun, you're just having fun, that's it. But it is hard for some reason to have fun. Why is it so hard to have fun?
That's why we have liquid courage, girl.
So true. But I just like, I sometimes have to stop myself when I'm doing so much, and I I'm so passionate about songwriting and music, but yeah, I'll have moments where I'm like, wait, I'm not even enjoying it right now in this second. Like, why am I not enjoying it? This is my passion. And you kind of seem to have this in your personality where you are kind of light and you're kind of airy to your personality in general, and I'm kind of this Eeyore kind of.
No, you're not.
I mean, in my heart and soul, like I do. I had to train my brain. Like, people think that you can only train your body. Like, have fun. And number one, we're gonna start adding having fun to our lives. And then number two, also you can retrain your brain. People, this is work I also study. I studied at Columbia for this. This is something I'm writing as well in a book. But you can condition your brain to be the way that will make your experience more fruitful. And I am the number one example of that. I mean, 10 years ago, you wouldn't even recognize who the person I am. And I think that when you're talking about development, people don't realize that you can develop your habits in your brain.
Yeah.
I used to wake up thinking, I can't. That was my script in my head. It was, I can't do that. I can't start a show because I don't have that training, and I can't. And that was a script that was not mine. That was conditioning from caretakers and people around me. And it took me a long time. This is not something that's easy. Neuroplasticity ain't easy. But I had to retrain my brain to now wake up and go, I could. She's singing my song called Leave It All Behind, which is on my new album. But that song is specifically about leaving behind those toxic scripts you have in your head. Do you feel that was something you did cognitively, or is that just in your personality? Because you give that.
I think it's morphed into, like, it's been like the same kind of mentality, I guess, but it's morphed. When I was younger, like, in my brain, I was like, I'm gonna be a pop star, I'm gonna be a famous actress, and I'm gonna marry Harry Styles. Like, that's what I thought, and I knew, like,
Harry,
in my head, I'm like,
available.
I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. So
she's not available.
No, not anymore. I got my man. But when I was younger, I would literally just think that way, and I would act as if that's going to happen to me when I'm older. So it's all like, I'm just chilling for now kind of thing. And I would take steps to get me there. Nowadays, I'm not as delusional because I'm not a recording artist nor an actress. But I work in the industry, and I guess that's my way of how I manifested it. But I think now, like, every day I try to live, and again, I'm not a saint. Like, I definitely have my moments. I don't do everything the way I should. I have ADHD. I'm all over the place a lot of the time.
We both do.
I think that's why I can do different things at the same time. But I think now my thing that I strive for is I try to be the best version of myself that I could be. That's what I try to do every day.
Yeah.
And I try to have my perfect day every day. Does my perfect day happen every day? Almost never.
No.
Probably never. But, in my mind, I'm like, okay, what would my perfect day be? I would get up, I do my yoga, I take my supplements, I would do my, meditation for 10 minutes, then I would get up, get myself ready, go to work, like, get a nice coffee or a lunch, hang out with my coworkers.
Setting the intentions of doing all of it.
Come home, take a nice shower, do my skincare, watch my show, hang out with my boyfriend, make dinner. So I also strive to have my perfect day and be the best version of myself that I could be. And it's a never-ending battle. I haven't gotten there yet, but that's what I work toward. That's like that's where I try to go.
I love that's intention setting. I have shifted huge gratitude. If you're not waking up and taking a moment for gratitude, what are you doing? Because you woke up.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't realize that the simple things, that's why they're not simple. Because it took me a long time to get there. I was not gratitude. If you ever heard of The Artist's Way, I know some of the artists listening or watching do. I never did my morning pages. The gratitude was the hardest thing for me to get to because I was like, nope. Why do I was not gratitude forward. But now, being gratitude forward has made my life magical. Like, you walk around going, wow, look at this beautiful studio I'm in with this beautiful woman who helped bolster my career. And if I didn't take those steps, I would still be in that place of can't. And I love that I'm going to now start adopting this too, of like waking up, gratitude, and then what is my idea of a perfect day, and then not judging it when it doesn't.
Yeah.
And also reclaiming the word perfect. I like that you said perfect, because I feel that artists and entrepreneurs, everybody in general, we're all chasing perfection, and perfection kind of gets this bad rap.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect, blah, 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 blah. But there's nothing wrong in dreaming about it. And as long as you're not, again, judging it if it doesn't, or if you have a bad day and going, because happiness is not about being sunshine and roses every day. Happiness is being able to be fluid, and when things go wrong, you adjust and you pivot. But I love that. I know her very well, but that's such a beautiful visual of waking up and kind of setting the intention for the day of what your dreams and hopes are.
Yeah.
And you naturally will step into that.
Say I have a bad meeting or something bad happens that day, I'm like, or, I get lazy at night. I'm like, at least I took my supplements and did my yoga this morning, or at least I read my book for a little bit, or spoke to my best friend, or spoke to my mom, or had a little sweet treat, So then by the end of the day, if I didn't have my full perfect day, there were pockets of my day that were perfect.
I love that. You're dropping lines right now, and I love that. Because that's so true. I think we get so caught up, now with social media, it's all about the likes and the numbers. And I mean, trust and believe it is true. It's about your numbers. It's all an algorithmic game. And you do get kind of caught up in things that don't really matter. Like they're tangible because now we all have phones, but they're really not tangible, but we've made them tangible because now it's like if you post and you don't get the million views, you're like, oh, that post failed. But that did it, because the real success is that you posted it and you're putting yourself out there. And I think that huge shift is success, right? You and I are sitting here today because we took a chance on each other. Just as much as I was hiring you, you didn't have to say yes. And because we took a chance on one another and took the risk, we now developed such beautiful memories and relationships together. But for some reason, I do feel that is a big disconnect right now. I think we're moving too far into, that individualistic, almost nihilism, whereas community and remembering that we are all going through very similar things, if not the exact same things, we just express them differently, could actually make that happiness and much easier. But I do feel that, because you're like me, we like people, but we also don't like people sometimes. But it depends on who the people are. But again, is that like just, because a lot of these we're talking about personality traits, I feel like. But do you think, because to me, my personality traits have really changed the more I've developed. So
I think, yes, I like people. That is an accord. Like, I do like people. But I think, like, my like for people more so comes for, like, I want to help people more than I like them, if that makes sense.
I love that.
Like, 'cause some people, I'll be, like, out on a weekend. I'm like, I cannot run my errands on a Saturday during the afternoon because everyone's everywhere. And I'm like, I hate everybody. I want to be home by myself.
Yeah. The stimulation, overstimulated.
And I don't like big crowds. So, like, I do love people as a whole, but like I think I love the idea of helping people more than I actually love people, if that makes sense.
In service of. Yeah. I love that. Okay, we're gonna break it down to habits of happiness. Okay. We're gonna also break it down to I love setting intentions for the perfect day, but not getting bogged down if it doesn't. Yeah. Gratitude. Yeah. Gratitude. And then we'll keep it at those three for right now, because I know we're jumping some other ones around, but I love that. Yeah. But this is just the beginning of the conversation.
Don't overthink. Don't put too much pressure on yourself.
Don't overthink. That one we'll do a whole episode on. We've only tapped into finding your voice, because don't overthinking, child. That's the hardest one for me.
I'm not great at that.
I am the queen of overthinking. If I could have a profession in just overthinking, I would be a billionaire, and it would be amazing. But those don't exist. Or does it? I don't think it does.
I mean,
I guess maybe if I created a TikTok brand about that, or you say a lawyer.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. But I can't thank you enough for just starting this journey with me. This is just the beginning. She'll be back. We're going to continue the conversation. And thank you so much for giving me the nuggets of your experience, because your experience fuels my experience and fuels their experience. So thank you for the first one, guys. Stay tuned for the next one. Now, wasn't that a beautiful conversation about the experience? Thank you so much for coming on this journey with me, the first one, and stay tuned, and I hope that it made your experience just a little more magical.